Welcome to Living the Empowered Life podcast. I'm your host, Tamiko Pugh, best-selling author, transformational strategist, life and business coach to purpose-driven women, and empowerment influencer. Affectionately called by many, the Empowering Diva. Each week, I'm bringing you inspirational conversations as well as actionable tips and strategies that move you forward in life and business. I believe that empowerment comes from within and can be achieved by honoring yourself, your values, and expressing your talents and gifts. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Now let's jump into today's episode of Living the Empowered Life. Welcome to another episode of Living the Empowered Life podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Tamiko Pugh, affectionately called by many the Empowering Diva. In today's episode, I'll be chatting with Dr. Laquore Meadows. From poverty to PhD, Dr. Laquore J. Meadows is a visionary, dynamic leader and wealth builder, and the CEO and co-founder of Invest to Give LLC. Inspired by the life and legacy of Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, she began her stock trading career with the aspiration to leave a lasting educational and financial impact on the world. Dr. Meadows is a trailblazer on a relentless mission to build a bridge between aspiring investors and their financial goals. She will continue to utilize her passion for the stock market to encourage others to leverage stock and options trading as an opportunity to generate income on demand and promote the intergenerational transfer of wealth. All right, so you have already heard her professional bio. Now let's go ahead and dive into our conversation with Dr. Laquore Meadows. Dr. Laquore, how are you?
I am wonderful. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, welcome to Living the Empowered Life podcast. I'm excited to dive into this conversation with you. I believe that the work that you're doing as far as educating us on the stock market is very much needed. I think that the Living the Empowered Life audience will definitely benefit from your wisdom on this topic, especially me, including myself. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to be with us.
Awesome. The pleasure is all mine.
So before we get started, I noticed that you are a higher education professional at The Ohio State University.
Yes, right? OH.
Yes, I.O. I got to get used to that. It's funny because that's my husband's alma mater. So I'm kind of forced to root for them and, wear my Ohio State shirt when they're playing basketball or football when we're watching the game. So awesome. That's really big in our household.
That is great. That is great. Please tell my fellow Buckeyes that hello.
I absolutely will. It's so funny because everything in our house is like, it's red and white because he's also a Kappa. So we, the wedding had to be red, and the Ohio State University thing. So yeah, that's what we have going on here.
Business. Serious. That's awesome.
Yes.
Are you free?
I am not. No, I'm not.
Awesome. Well, your husband and I also share colors because I'm a Delta.
I saw that. I did research. Yes. So let's go ahead and dive into this conversation. So, why the stock market? I know a lot of times, especially in our culture, we kind of shy away from finances and things like the stock market, right? So why this stock market? Like, how did you get into this industry?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And actually, my response is multi-tiered. So the reason why I initially got into the stock market was because I saw a gift that was just beyond my imagination. So as you mentioned, I do work at The Ohio State University and love what I do. And as a part of my role, I had the opportunity to engage with a woman who decided to gift the organization that I lead $5.3 million.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
So when she did that, I was just so inspired by her generosity, as well as inspired by the fact that the reason why she gave was to help us to build a building. That structure would pretty much live in perpetuity. And so I was so inspired by that. I thought to myself, like, wow, I would love to be in position in order to gift someone or an organization that level of money, if not more. But I
Mm-hmm.
also recognize that, you know what, while Ohio State treats me well, love them, thank you, I'm not being paid at that level. My 9 to 5 simply would not position me in order to do that. And so, after talking with her, getting to learn a little bit more about her story, she has acquired a lot of her wealth through the stock market. And so I was like, you know what? There's something to this thing. It's been something I had been interested in for quite some time, but did not honestly see a lot of people who looked like me in this space. And so, and then all the terminology and all the stuff, I just shied away from it. But when she told me that, she had invested a lot of her money that she got from a business that she once owned, and she made a lot of money from it, I said, okay, I got to figure this out. And so from there, I started to just dig into books, dig into courses, dig into anything I can get my hands on in order to understand the logistics of the stock market from both a long-term perspective as well as a short-term perspective, and just fell in love. So from there, the rest is history. I just got into it and loved it so much, began making money, began telling my friends about it. And they're like, you know what, you need to teach me how to do this. And so from there, that's where Invest to Give was born. So that's the story as to why the stock market. And so, but one more thing I would do want to add is another reason why I'm so passionate about this is during my research, what I learned is that the first assets that were bought and sold on Wall Street were actually enslaved Africans. So,
Wow.
yes. And so, as an African American woman who as a descendant from people from both Ghana and Nigeria, it was important to me, first and foremost, to not only give homage to those wonderful gems, is what I call them,
Mm-hmm.
but also figure out a way that we as African Americans, and of course anybody else who might be interested in the stock market, but particularly African Americans, that we benefit off of the billions of transactions and dollars that happen on Wall Street every day. So very passionate about that, very passionate about helping particularly also women to close both the racial and gender wealth gap. And the stock market is a great way to do that. So, yeah.
Wow. That's powerful. That literally gave me chills when you mentioned about slavery.
Yes,
I mean, it's something that I just learned. I just learned something new today. And so that gave me chills right there. So thank you for sharing that.
absolutely.
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to mention as it relates to the stock market, and this is my personal opinion, I'm so sure other people probably feel this way. We feel like it's kind of risky, right? And so we're kind of scared to kind of dive into something that we don't know a whole lot about. But you always hear the quote, like, scared money don't make money. What do you
Mhm,
think about that? What do you think about the risks?
mhm. So I think it's good. I think that the fact that people have some nervousness around engaging in the stock market is a good thing, because I think that that means that helps us to know that we need to leverage that feeling, right,
Hmm.
in order to protect ourselves as we're engaging.
That's
So
true.
one of the things that's important to understand is that the stock market does three things. It goes up, it goes down, and it moves sideways. We can make money in all directions. All three of those positions, whether the stock market is it's a bull market, whether it's a bear market, or whether it's just kind of simmering along, there's ways to make money with that. But as it relates to that fear piece, there's also ways to protect ourselves no matter what direction it's going in. And so that's where, when I talk about it's important to educate yourself, it's kind of the one of the first steps of being engaged in the stock market. That's where educating yourself comes in, and understanding that all of those risks can be managed. Okay, so that's one thing I would say to that. I just recently released a ebook called Income on Demand,
Hmm.
the complete playbook for beginning stock traders. So that resource actually helps people to understand how to begin thinking about that piece of, okay, I'm a little afraid of this. And then I help people to get over that as well.
That's good. That's good. Getting over that fear. I think that is so important. So the stock market goes up, it goes down, and it moves sideways. And we have an opportunity to leverage all of that, is what I'm taking away from this.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I absolutely, girl, let me tell you, I am learning. This is like a learning experience for me. I'm excited about this conversation. So, invest to give. You mentioned a little bit about invest to give as you were sharing your journey and learning about the stock market, and that's how you came up with invest to give. And so, um, you mentioned that it was inspired by the life and legacy of Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. So, can you share a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So I love her. I'll just start by saying that I love her. She was, and her living legacy continues to be such an inspiration for me.
Yes.
I have been in higher education predominantly my entire career. So once I stepped foot on the campus of Tennessee State University for undergrad, I just fell in love with just collegiate life. Actually, I would have to say it actually began before that, to be honest. I was a part of the Upward Bound program at the University of Cincinnati. So I spent, the later half of my childhood living on a college campus during the summers.
Wow.
And so love that experience and love the fact that being on a college campus is just such fertile ground, and it's such a great place to just saturate yourself in, just to continue to learn, right? And so when I think about leaders in that space, names such as Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, Dr. Janetta Cole, you name it, those women, those powerhouses come to mind. Now, Dr. McLeod Bethune is special to me because not only was she a leader in higher education, she helped to formulate an entire university. And so with that, that is just phenomenal to me. And not only is the university a historically Black institution, but not only did she do that, she was an advisor to several presidents. So that meant that she knew her stuff, right?
Yeah.
That meant that she was savvy enough to navigate not only locally, but nationally and internationally. So the fact that she did so much during her lifetime is just, just completely inspiring to me. And if I can just do a fraction of that, I would say I've lived a life well.
Absolutely. And she has done a lot. And how many of y'all that are listening knew that she was an advisor to several presidents? Like, that's dope. Like, that is amazing. Like, we're an amazing group of people. Let me just say that. As women of color, sometimes we don't get a lot the credit that we deserve, but to be an advisor to several presidents, not just one, right? But several presidents. I mean, I think that's just amazing in itself.
Absolutely, absolutely. And she also was an inspiration for me to join my sorority as well. I was like, oh, she a Delta? Oh man. Yes.
I love it. So while we're talking about Invest to Give, can you kind of tell us a little bit about what exactly it is and what it does as an organization?
Absolutely, absolutely. So Investigate, first and foremost, the name was inspired by the gift that we received as an institution, because I wanted to position myself as well as those that I had the pleasure of connecting with and teaching, with the ability to invest in order to give back. Right now, that giving back can look many different ways, whether it is giving to yourself, giving to your family, giving to the causes that you care most about. All of those things are critically important in my mind and in the business that I have. So my role with Investigive is I help people to create income on demand, right? And I do that by helping them to understand how to leverage the stock market to both invest, but my true specialty is around trading, which is helping individuals to generate income on the stock market. So going back to that, what I said earlier, as it relates to helping to close that wealth gap, having greater income is one way that we can do that, right? So when I think about the amount of money specifically African American women spend in the beauty fashion industry each year. Just to give you one quick statistic, we spend over 2.6 billion with a B dollars on personal care, hair care products every year. Okay. Every year. That is a lot of money,
It's a lot
right?
of money. I just spent a lot. I have natural hair, so I buy a lot of product. I know
Yeah.
I haven't spent that much personally, but I spend a lot of money on hair care.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So as a collective, a lot of our money is going into that industry. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with being cute, because I like being cute too, right? I like to get my braids. I like to, I like to get me a little cute purse and things like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's also important to think about how can we use our purchasing power to also benefit us besides the cosmetic piece, right? How do we use our money to put it to work for us so that we can make more? And so that's a part of what I do, is to help people understand in plain English. One of my God-given gifts is to make the stock market an approachable space. And my students often tell me, like, you really broke that down. Like, I get that now, right? I can understand that pretty clearly. So
Yeah.
one of my gifts is to be able to break it down. So I work with individuals to help them to understand how to put our money to work in order to make more and to generate additional income. So there's a couple of ways I do that. I offer courses. I offer a membership program as well, which is brand new. It's called Chosen for More, because I believe we're all chosen to do a thing. And
Yeah.
having additional finances can definitely help position us to have the freedom to do that thing, right? So I have that. And then also, I just started a new initiative as well. I'm super excited about it. It's actually launching. Well, this podcast will air afterwards, but it's launching in Atlanta, Georgia on Sunday, September 19th, and it is called Stocks and Sorors. So the whole goal is to engage.
I'm loving this.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The whole goal is to engage Black Greek sorority women and helping them to become engaged and active participants on the stock market. So I'm hosting a live event. It will be in Atlanta, where there's a lot of Greeks there, at a place called Unlimited Studios on Sunday the 19th, beginning at 2:30. And super excited to begin that initiative. We are coming up on Sigma Gamma Rho sororities centennial year. And so when we think about it as a collective, all of us have had 400 years of impact on our communities. That is huge. That is huge. So just imagine if we could, as a collective, as Black women, set the stage to bless our families for 400 more. So that is my goal with Stocks and Sorors, is to educate as many women as I possibly can in order to begin investing, in order to generate income for themselves and their families.
That's amazing. I mean, I love this. I love that you mentioned using our personal power to put it to work for us. I think that is so important, that we use our gifts, our experience, our expertise, and what you would call our personal power, right? To impact us, to really invest into us. And so pouring back into us and making it work for us. I love that you mentioned that. In addition, making the stock market an approachable space. Like, until this conversation that I'm having with you, I had that there was a fear. There was a fear of the risk, but the way that you are breaking it down just on this conversation alone, you make it seem more approachable. And my husband talks about stocks all the time. He just started kind of dibbling and dabbling in that area. And I'm always looking at him like, that's a risk, right? But you kind of opened me up and educated me and made me more open to actually looking deeper into this. So thank you for that. So you talk about the importance of your life's mission to build and leave your life's mission to build and leave a financial legacy. And so I think that's great. I think you've kind of explained a little bit of that already. And so thank you for that. But there was one thing I wanted to mention. Like I said, I was doing my research, and I noticed that you have the Chosen for More collective apparel line. And there was a statement or a quote that you said, and it says, to further empower current and aspiring stock traders and entrepreneurs who are ready to rise above the W-2 mentality. And then you say, and leverage their 9 to 5 as a bridge and not a destination.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that part right there, as a bridge and not a destination, I think that is such a powerful quote. Can you kind of expound on that a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for bringing that forth. And I'm so happy that you found that to be inspiring. So, the reason why behind that statement is because I think that sometimes some people can bash the 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Um, and I think it's important for us to recognize that if we need that 9 to 5, let's hold on to that 9 to 5 to make sure that we are good, right? That we're good.
Mm-hmm.
But I also recognize that we are all chosen for more. We're all chosen for more. And I think that this pandemic that we're in the process of enduring has showed us in so many ways that there can be something different, and that we are also equipped to do more things besides what we're being paid for, right? And so one of the things that I do as I look at my 9 to 5, because I am still working, I'm working because I want to, not because I have to, but I'm still working because my 9 to 5 is a strategy. It's a
Yes.
part of the strategy. I have greater ambitions. I want to do bigger things. I want to expand beyond the stock market and actually begin investing into real estate as well. And so my 9 to 5 is helping me to do that, right? And that's my chosen for more piece, right? I'm chosen to become an investor, right? I didn't know that when I was young, but I know it now. But so I see that, and I also, have created this clothing line to inspire people to recognize that it doesn't have to be an end all be all, right? We don't have to do the routine. Okay, go to school, wake up, go to work every day until we retire, and then we tired. We don't have to do that, right? There's a different way. There's another way. And so our 9 to 5 can truly be a bridge to that life that we're chosen for, and not necessarily an end destination.
I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Tell us about the clothing line. How can we find out more about that?
Sure, I'm super excited. So, yes, so the clothing line, you can find it by visiting chosenformarco.com, and that's just chosenformarco.com. And so, it's available and ready. So there's different shirts that I have available now that all have inspirational sayings on them, or sayings that would help to catalyze conversations about either investing or about the stock market or entrepreneurship, things like that. My whole aim with this was thinking back to my childhood, right? I grew up in a household that was filled with love, filled with hugs, filled with kisses, but we did not have conversations around our dinner table, at our picnics in school, about money and about investing at all, right? If anything, I learned a lot about credit because, there was like these big, I don't know if you remember those, when you put photos in like the little plastic things, right? Those are filled with credit cards, right?
Oh, yes, yes.
I grew up learning that, having credit cards and being in debt was the way of life. Now, no shade to my family, love my family, but that's what I saw. I'm just being truthful here. And so with that, I want to change that narrative for other families. So if we see Auntie Jane or Uncle T, at a family picnic, and they have a shirt on that says "We built this," or generational wealth builder loading, I want young kids to ask the question. So what does that mean? Tell me more.
Yes.
And if they do that, then hopefully that will then inspire them as they're growing up to think differently around, okay, so should I buy Nike or can I invest in Nike stock?
I know that's right. Yes.
Should I
Yes.
go get
And
me
yes.
a whole phone, the new latest Apple product, or whatever it is when I get older, or should I invest in that company? Right. So that's the goal of the Chosen for More clothing line, is to inspire that person sitting in the chair that I sat in when I was young, to take it to the next level.
Yes, take it to the next level. And as you were talking, about the family and the dinner table, it led me to kind of think about how that's where a lot of those limiting beliefs would set in with us as it relates to wealth and as it relates to money. And, I often say, I remember my grandmother would always say, money is the root of all evil, not knowing that subconsciously that with me for years. And
Yes.
so it makes us kind of afraid of wealth. I don't know if you would agree with that, but sometimes I think those limiting beliefs and those things that we hear growing up, it impacts the way that we treat money as adults.
I agree 100%. I believe it causes us to have financial astigmatisms.
Mm, 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 mm.
I do.
Girl.
I do.
Yes, yes. So I think that what you're doing is you're breaking that generational curse and you're creating wealth building instead of that, by inspiring us. And so thank you so much for the services that you are giving to the community.
The pleasure is truly all mine.
So last thing, really quickly, living the empowered life is all about empowering women from the inside out. Personal development, professional development, financial empowerment. And so, what does it mean to you to live an empowered life?
I love that question. I love it. I love it. I love it. So I would say I would have to go back to thinking about I guess the mantra, the motto that I grew up thinking about, as a young student at Tennessee State University. Excellence is a way of life. Right. And so if I am truly operating in excellence, then I believe that I am not only empowering myself, but I'm also empowering others to live the life, as I often say, that they were chosen for. So the empowered life is, for me, is about impact, right? Not only being able to impact my own, right, but expanding that impact broadly to be of service to others so that then they can then magnify that as well.
I love that. Excellence is a way of life.
Yeah.
Excellence is a way of life. I love everything about this. How can we stay connected with you through social media, your website? Can you share that for me?
Absolutely. So you can reach me pretty easily by visiting my website, which is invest2give.com. Invest2give.com. So I can definitely be reached there. I have a contact form. I take out speaking engagements. So if anybody wants me to come and talk about the stock market, I can talk about it all day. So
Yes, yes.
I'm happy to do that. And then also another easy way to reach me is on Instagram. So you can reach me at my DM at invest2give.com. So that would be another great way to reach out to me as well.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Do you have any final thoughts or anything you want to say before we close out?
Yeah, so I just want to kind of circle back to your question around the fear, right? I think that fear keeps a lot of us who may otherwise have an interest in investing, whether it be the stock market, real estate, collectibles, you name it, anything. The fear of the unknown can keep us stagnant. Okay. So I would just want to encourage people to try to face that fear in the face and move forward. You just never know where taking that first step can take you. And if you need help as it specifically relates to the stock market, I do have a resource that's available for you. It's my new ebook. It's called Income on Demand, the complete playbook for beginning stock traders. And truly, this book is a conversation. It's a conversation between you and I. And if you need help, just kind of getting over that first step, the book is filled with different activities and definitions, and it actually has videos embedded within it that can help you to build your foundation and understanding of how to navigate in this space. So I encourage you to check it out. It is available on Amazon. Also, it will be also sold on my website. So thank you so much. I'll just take that first step.
Thank you, Laquore. You said the fear of the unknown can keep us stagnant. The
Yes.
fear of the unknown can keep us stagnant. That's so powerful. And that's a message in itself. I'm sure you can speak on that for a long period of time, but there was just something about that. The fear of the unknown can keep us stagnant. Laquore, thank you so much for sharing with us today. I personally took a lot of great nuggets. I took notes from our conversation, and I look forward to supporting your upcoming initiatives, and I will see you on Sunday. Thank you again.
Thank you. This was such a blessing. I appreciate you tremendously. And you keep shining as well. You're doing phenomenal work.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Living the Empowered Life podcast. I hope that you enjoyed my conversation with the amazing Laquore Meadows and that you were able to draw some inspiration as you continue your journey of living an empowered life. And remember, in the words of the late, great Dr. Maya Angelou, if you're going to live, leave a legacy. Make a mark on the world that can't be erased. Ladies, it's time to identify and live your life purpose. It's time to live life according to your values. It's time to set goals that move you forward in life and business. It's time to unleash your confidence. It's time to fearlessly walk in your authentic power. Ladies, it's time to live the empowered life.